Moving on to official stuff, though. Welcome. We do offer ASL interpretation and CART services for our meetings. We have been offering Spanish interpretation and had intended to have that available for you today, except for some reason there's some crosswire somewhere, and our Spanish interpreters are not here, I don't think. And if they are, please message me because I didn't see you come through. So we will try to remedy that for next month, and I'm so sorry about that if you were needing to have that interpretation today. We are committed to developing and deepening our partnerships to provide outstanding and culturally specific services to support people in Oregon. And this means listening, learning, and working with, working together, across ODHS programs and state agencies with the 9 tribes of Oregon, community-based organizations, and members of Oregon's communities. This is a virtual meeting and occurs monthly. It's a forum for updates, discussion, feedback, and question and answer about self-sufficiency programs and other related subject matter. The meeting is recorded so that we can offer this meeting to others, and it will be available on YouTube. It's very helpful for those who can't be with us in the moment, but still watch the presentations at a later time. The follow-up email with all corresponding documents and minutes and the links, that'll be sent in about a week. At this time, we do ask that you introduce yourself in chat. Please include your name, pronouns, organization, and role. This is really helpful to us and to partners for connection purposes. So I'm going to pause for a moment and add my information into chat, and hopefully you will do the same. Today's agenda includes presentations on baby promise and an update from domestic violence survivor programs. We did have a cancellation on our agenda, so if you were hoping to hear more about the equity dashboard, we're having to delay that just slightly. So hopefully we'll have that for you next month. But that will allow a little more flexibility for our presenters if they need to take more questions or a little more time. That time is available. And with whatever time we have available at the end, we would be happy to hear any updates that you would like to share with the folks who are on the meeting as well. And we'll just kind of use time for that at the end. Presenters, we do ask that you turn on your cameras while you're presenting where able, as our partners do appreciate seeing the person who's speaking. And of course, we'd like to invite everybody who's willing, able, and comfortable to share your cameras as well. We would love to be in community with you, and seeing you makes that so much easier in this virtual space. And I did see our presenters come in for Baby Promise. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and hand the meeting over to them.
Thank you so much, Misha. Hi, everybody. My name's Mady Rosengarten. My pronouns are she, her, and I come to you sort of live from the Department of Early Learning and Care, along with my colleague, Meg Ryan, who's waving hello. And Misha, do I have the ability to share my screen? Looks like I do.
Should be able to.
Okay, and Misha, just give me a nod if you can see that there. Yay. Thank you. We are so glad to be here today. Meg and I are going to be talking a little bit about DELC's Baby Promise program. DELC is the Department of Early Learning and Care, the new agency that born of the Early Learning Division, and about a little bit about ERDC and the wait list. So I like this saying, there's no such thing as a baby. There's a baby and someone. It always reminds me just how vulnerable infants are, young infants and toddlers, and how long we need as human beings with other people to take care of us. We're vulnerable for a long time. And the other piece of it that we at DELC are so aware of is the cost of infant toddler care. It is more expensive, of course, to care for infants and toddlers than it is for older children. You know, the licensing requirements are rigorous. Child to adult ratio is different, and babies and toddlers take a lot of time and care. So So that's one reason I like having that, reminding myself of that quote. So what we're going to talk about today, first we're going to talk a little bit about Baby Promise. What is it? And infant and toddler care in Oregon. We're going to talk a little bit about the ERDC waitlist and its impact, some resources for you and for families. And then at the end, we'll be happy to take any questions that you might have and answer them as best we can now or via email later. I wanted to just reference this slide. Some of you may have seen this before. This is a graphic that is a map that demonstrates why Oregon really is denoted a childcare desert, and especially for infants and toddlers. What the data shows you is the number of children in an age range in a county, and then the number of regulated childcare slots that are available. So, for example, in Curry County, between the ages of 0 and 2, if up to 10% of those children don't have access to a slot, 10 children or less out of 100 denotes Curry County as a severe childcare desert. And so you can see that specifically for our infant toddler population, we are very much still in a childcare desert in Oregon. Things have looking much better for our 3 to 5-year-olds, which we are so glad to see, with the advent of Preschool Promise and other preschool programs. We're still launching the infant and toddler care programs. So, and Baby Promise really is the program that it began as a pilot about a few years back. It's now enacted in rule as a DELC program. We're hoping for some expansion in the next biennium. It's a priority for DELC. And of course, the waitlist, which you may know about, has presented a little bit of a hiccup for us that we're going to talk about. So because at present, to utilize a Baby Promise slot, a family needs to be eligible for ERDC. So let me go to the next slide and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So Baby Promise is publicly funded through DELC. Families do need to be eligible for ERDC, and as you know, we have a wait list. So families who are on that wait list are not eligible yet until we start inviting families off that list. We also know that we have about 4,000 families who are eligible, but who are not yet connected to a provider. And so part of what we're doing in talking with you today is we're working on ways to reach out to them. So we want you to know about the program, about what families can do to become eligible, and get this information to you so that you can share it out with colleagues and families. So Baby Promise slots are subsidized with CCDF funds provided by early learning and care programs, child care providers in specific counties in Oregon. Those providers need to accept ERDC to meet the requirements of Baby Promise, in addition to some other requirements to be a Baby Promise provider. And the program is for children aged 6 weeks to 3 years, and it provides free, full-time, year-round, high-quality care and education for these young children. So as I said, to be enrolled, they must be eligible for ERDC, and Baby Promise is not an exempt population from the wait list. There are some, as you can see on the slide, there are families who can skip the wait list if they recently or currently receive TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or Temporary Assistance for Domestic Violence Survivors, or are referred by the Child Welfare Division of ODHS. And families are encouraged to complete their reapplications in a timely way so they can avoid the wait list. And they're also encouraged to apply for ERDC if there's been a change of circumstance that might allow them to meet one of these exceptions.
And Mady, can I just chime in?
Yes, chime in.
So families receiving TANF are exempt from the wait list. Those are families that receive categorical ERDC. And that is where we are seeing the most instances of families who are not connected to a provider. So right now, only about 20% of our families with categorical ERDC are connected to a provider. And so we're really hoping to especially reach out to those folks and help them get into a child care program of some kind.
Exactly. Thank you. And a little bit now about Baby Promise itself. The objectives of the program are really to, really it is DELC's, answer to helping with that childcare desert. The idea is to increase the supply of infant toddler providers by stabilizing programs that already offer infant and toddler care and support the ones that are beginning to offer infant and toddler care or want to expand the services that they already offer. Baby Promise also aims to increase the quality of infant toddler care and expand family choice, especially in communities who have been historically marginalized and underserved. How does Baby Promise work? Well, let's see. Baby Promise, first of all, where is Baby Promise? We're in the 3 regions that you can see in green on the map: Multnomah, Jefferson, Deschutes, and Crook counties, and then down on the coast in Coost and Curry. We also serve Reedsport, which is in southern Douglas County. And DELC administers the local CCRs in these regions with funds, and then the CCRNRs then subcontract with the programs, with the providers, using the enrollment slot model. Again, the slots are for full-time, full-year care, and also the providers provide diapers, formula, food, diaper cream, sunscreen, anything that children would need while enrolled in that program. So the goal really is for families to utilize this program full-time and have it be as seamless for them as possible. So the families, again, need to have a child 6 weeks to 3 years of age, be eligible, and enrolled in ERDC. Baby Promise providers are also required to take specific training regarding the care and education of infants and toddlers. They complete developmental screenings and child assessments with families, and the CCRNRs provide technical assistance to the providers in a variety of these areas. So the providers receive additional funds for these extra pieces that they are doing, and to be able to hire the additional qualified staff to care for infants and toddlers. So the CCRNRs and the providers work really close together. Let's see what's next here. Just a little bit about a little bit of program information for you. We have about 250, 260 children that are being served. And you can see that we are able to offer slots in lots of different kinds of provider types: registered and certified family homes, centers, and we even have slots in early Head Starts. And we're really glad to be able to offer families a real choice about the kind of provider that works for them. So now, let's see. I think I'm gonna turn it over to Meg to talk a little bit about some support for families and some resources for you. Take it away.
Thank you, Mady. And I can't see the slides, so I don't know what's happening. But I'm prepared. So I'm gonna, let's see. I think these will work if I just post them in the chat. Yes. So I am on the childcare assistance team here at DELC. And so we realize that not everyone is eligible for ERDC and also, or is on the wait list, or does not have an infant and toddler. So we also just wanted to take the opportunity to plug some of our other programs here. So I'm throwing these links in the chat, and then I have more for the next slide, maybe whenever you go to it. So this first link is the Baby Promise landing page. And on this page, you can find this very lovely flyer that we created to share with families and communities. It is translated into 10 different languages. And so I posted the English one here, but we will send those out with the slides so they can be shared with everyone. We have just the main DELC page about our different programs, and then two big partners for us are the Preschool Promise program, which also takes place in various early learning programs throughout the state, and Head Start programs, also known as OPK here in Oregon. That page will show you all the different Head Start programs throughout the state. And then Early Head Start and Relief Nurseries are both specifically for infants, toddlers, young children. And is there anything else on that slide, Mady?
No, I think you got it all. 211, other childcare resources, 211, and Find Childcare Oregon.
Okay, and I'll post those links in here, and I think I even saw some of those folks in here. So 211 info, we love to work with them and plug them so families, community partners can text or call them for more information about childcare in their area, with or without ERDC, a bunch of other different, I want to say filters, but if you're not looking at a screen, different criteria for finding childcare and childcare resources. And then early learning hubs, I'm going to put that link in here to find regional early learning hubs support the coordinated enrollment for their region for any and all childcare. So that is a really great resource. We work closely with them. I think the slide tells you all that we are sending out quarterly text nudges to anyone on the wait list, unless they have opted out of receiving text notices from ODHS. Everyone else will get one. We're also sending out a special targeted text message to families in the regions with Baby Promise about Baby Promise in July. And then finally, we have a quarterly newsletter about ERDC and ERDC updates, and there is a link there for signing up. And again, that's something that can be shared with families or community partners or just about anyone that is interested.
Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing so that they can see everything. And we will take any questions you might have, musings, comments, wonderings. Can we get a copy? Absolutely. We're gonna make sure that everything is good to go and send it off to our friend Misha today or tomorrow.
I do have a question about the infants. And you were talking, I don't know, I think I might have missed exactly what you were saying about the training for people that would help care for infants. So are you saying that if I have an early childhood facility and I would like to start working with infants, you guys could help with the training, getting people trained to come to work? I know
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the CCRs can certainly help you with that. And if you were interested in, I'm not sure what county you're in, if you were interested in Baby Promise, part of being a Baby Promise provider is requirements to take some very specific child development curriculum.
So Multnomah County?
Yeah, we're in Multnomah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Reach out to the CCR&R there at Mount Hood Community College. And if we can put our email addresses in, if that's okay with Misha too, and you're welcome to reach out. Be happy to help.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. I also see, is it coming to other counties? That is our great wish and goal and hope. That's what we're working towards. So is this program the same as Preschool Promise? Actually, it's different than Preschool Promise because in a couple of different ways. The first big one is that it's all day care, full day care. So so providers need to be open many more hours than the preschool promise program is required to be open. So that's one big difference. In some other ways, it's the same. Baby Promise provides food and diapers. Preschool Promise, I think, does provide meals for the children. In other ways, it's aligned in terms of Spark ratings, growth and development, annual goals, children's assessment of children and of the program. In many ways, those are the same. I hope that answers the question, Anna.
It looks like it does. And then I can speak to the training info by county. I think the best resource for training is going to be your regional childcare resource and referral. So I'm going to throw that link to find your local CCR&R in the chat. And I think R&Rs are great because they always have a training calendar, and usually you can filter by training criteria like infant and toddler hours.
Yes, and Jessica, I see your question. That's a really great question. We have been working on that. I have been here at DELC for about 10 months, and I'm just now getting connected with the person in our agency who works with tribal regions, and we are very much hoping that we can do something with some of the tribes. You are so welcome, Amaya. Is there anything else we can attempt to answer? We're just so glad to be here and so proud of all of our ODHS partners that we work with. Everyone is amazing across the state, and it's been a real privilege to get to work with you and all of your extended colleagues. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do.
Thanks, Beatty. And I'll just add really quickly, I just threw in my team's policy box. So that's a general email box that's staffed by the entire team. So if any questions come up after this, please feel free to send us an email. And I'm also going to throw my personal one in there if anyone has any questions or follow up about resources, etc. So thank you so much for having us.
I just had a quick question. Sorry. I joined the meeting late, but right now when you guys mentioned for the Baby Promise with like food and diapers, what do you guys mean by diapers? Do you guys provide them to the programs, or what is it? Can you guys just clarify that for me? That way I know.
Sure. So providers or programs who have subcontracted with the CCR&R to be a Baby Promise provider receive additional funds to make sure that each family or each child that is in a Baby Promise slot is provided all the diapers, food, formula, diaper cream, sunscreen while they're in care with that provider. So this is to lessen the burden on families and make it a little bit easier for families to get the kind of real full-time care that they need. Does that answer the question? So the providers do the purchasing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they work with the families on preferences and.
All right, thank you so much for the clarification. I just wasn't late, so I kind of missed that. So, but thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. And I put my email address in the chat too. If you have any more Baby Promise questions, please reach out to me. Be happy to answer.
All right, thank you so much for your presentation. Looks like there was some great questions and some definite interest around there. So that's awesome. Up next, we have an update from our DV Survivor programs. And I see Chelsea in front of me, not Brittany. Chelsea, are you going to be presenting today?
I am. We're double booked today for our team. So she is presenting the same information to another group. So We are just, we're just sharing the work today. Hi, everyone. I am Chelsea Glover with DB Survivor Programs. That includes the TADBS program, co-located DB Advocates program, and our Survivor Investment Partnership. Yeah, so just bringing some information about the TADBS grant increase. And for anyone who doesn't know, TADBS is Temporary Assistance for Domestic Violence Survivors. It is a TANF funded program. So the eligibility there is based on someone being in an unsafe domestic violence situation, as well as being a caretaker to a child or pregnant. So those are sort of the main pieces of eligibility for the program, but there's a lot more to it. But just wanted to get that basic info out there for you. So we are really excited to share the outcome of the 2024 legislative session. The TADBS program did receive an investment to increase the grant amount from $1,200, which it has been since 1996, to $3,200. That is per family, per certification period. So this really does mark the first increase we received since its inception more than 26 years ago. So really the goal of this is that it more closely aligns with our current housing and safety plan needs. So hoping that those who need, long-term housing, things like that, that it will benefit the family more than the $1,200 would. So currently the increase is not available to survivors. We have to undergo system updates so that we can manage that funding through the grant. And we anticipate the implementation of these changes early August of this year. So we do have to wait for those system updates in order to be able to issue the appropriate amounts. And then, of course, we'll be sharing more details as it becomes available, just to ensure that, our partners are getting the same information that we are internally as far as timelines. Currently, it's still at $1,200. So, but once, so if they apply prior to the increased funding availability, what should happen, if all goes well, is that if the increase happens in the middle of someone's certification, they will then be eligible for the new amount. So yeah, so we plan to be tracking the difference that it makes for survivors. We'll be getting, hopefully reaching out to community partners, for any feedback. It's really going to be crucial to make the funding permanent, because it is temporary at this time. So we will be collecting information and really tracking how the grant is utilized during this temporary increase, so that we can look forward and work toward a permanent increase. So I do want to put in the chat that we have let me just make sure I have the right website here. We have an external website that has it's resources for domestic and sexual violence programs, and then it has an FAQ specifically about the grant increase, and then of course more information just about TADBS in general and our other programs. So that is in the chat now, so should be able to access that. Any questions?
I don't see any in chat. Can you just maybe state one more time when the anticipated implementation date is, just so people have it?
Anticipated for early August of this year. So a few more months. What is that, 3 months from now? Hopefully, yeah.
Are there resources for DV clients that don't have dependents?
There are lots of resources out there. There are domestic violence, sexual assault agencies that can support anybody, any survivor, whether they have children or not. This is a specific program that we were able to fund through a TANF TANF funding in order to implement the family violence option. And so that's why it is has those criteria. But yeah, so there are community agencies who should have resources and support for survivors without children. And I see my boss is in the chat adding more information. Thank you, Kirsten.
You are welcome. I just thought maybe we would want to emphasize that so people who are not as familiar with the program understand that they don't have to wait to refer survivors earlier. You did a great job though, Chelsea, hitting all the points.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Chelsea? All right, I don't see any right now.
All right, thank you, everyone.
If you think of one later, we will definitely get that over to our team and get back to you on those questions. So thank you so much, Chelsea. All right, so we have a little bit of extra time, but I checked in with a few folks on our meeting today, and there's some folks who have things they'd love to update you on. So we have time for that, which is really wonderful. Before I hand it off to the first person, I will start with a quick update. Last month we gave you an update on Vision into Action and showed you a little bit of the guide and got that out to you in our follow-up email. We have been supporting managers over the last few months in preparing for this implementation and supporting the rest of the workforce. And just last week, we got the information out to the rest of our staff, including a training module. And I had the opportunity to view this training module last week, and it is pretty awesome. It had lots of great information. And I thought, wow, I bet the partners would really be interested in this because it does a great job of explaining Vision into Action. So if you were a little confused, if it didn't really hit home with you in the presentations we've given, this is how it's being kind of explained and broken down in pieces for staff to understand because it's in this training module. And if you're curious about, okay, well, that's great, but how's it being messaged to staff? Or, okay, this is all wonderful, but what's next, right? How is it going to move forward? How is this going to be implemented? This training really does speak to that and talks about kind of the next steps and whatnot working with staff. And so if you are curious and you would like to know more about Vision into Action and how it's rolling out with staff, I am going to put a link into chat, and I will put this link in our follow-up email as well. And what it is it's a link to our YouTube page where the training has been recorded. It's exactly 30 minutes. And so if you have that interest and you're curious and you want to go through it, you are welcome to do so and get an idea of, what is Vision into Action? How is it being messaged throughout self-sufficiency? And so it is there for you. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to, but it's there. And I transparency is good, right? And knowing how we're messaging that. So I wanted to make sure you knew that was available, and that is up right now for you. Patty, was there anything you wanted to add to that before I hand it off?
No, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. We just wanted to make sure that, I love Misha's suggestion that we make this available. The audience was staff, but I do think that I agree with Misha that information is, potentially helpful. So again, watch if you'd like and continue to let us know if you have questions or suggestions. Thank you.
Thanks, Patty. So I'm going to hand the meeting over to Stephanie right now to give us an update on where we're at with summer EBT. Stephanie.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Misha. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Cook, and I am a policy analyst with the summer EBT program. So Misha invited me, since we had a little extra time, to share where we are with summer EBT in the process. So for those of you who are newer to this meeting, Summer EBT is a brand new permanent food program that was just introduced this year, and it will issue about $120 to eligible children to buy groceries for the summer months while school is not in session. So it's a brand new program. We're just rolling it out starting this summer. Right now, we are set to issue benefits in late June. And that is also when our paper and online application will also be available. So there are a set of students who are automatically eligible. Those are kids who are already receiving SNAP, TANF, or Medicaid benefits. But other kids who are enrolled in school and are income eligible, so have income under 185% of the federal poverty level, are welcome to apply for the benefit. And it's a really simple application. We just ask for the kids' names, the school they attend, anyone else in the household, and then the household's income. And then we will take that information and determine eligibility. So we don't quite yet have like flyers and like newsletter inserts and that information available, but we do have our website up. So I will put that in the chat. We have a English version, and then we have a Spanish like shortened URL. So I'll put both in the chat. And then we also have some really cool social media that just posted to our, well, the ODHS Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages. So those are really cool. We're getting a lot of excitement surrounding those. And then we have a whole huge comms package that will be dropping kind of towards the end of this month to provide information to families, to schools, to community partners, our staff here at ODHS, everyone about the program. So it's moving very quick. We're doing a lot behind the scenes, and hopefully by this time next month, I can share more. If you have any questions, just let me know, or I can put our email in the chat.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is this going to be only for families who have students enrolled in the K-12 system, or is it also going for families who have children ages 0 to 5?
It's not for kids 0 to 5. So there's kind of two separate groups. So if the child is age 6 to 18 and receiving SNAP, TANF, or Medicaid, they're automatically eligible, and we don't have to verify that they're enrolled in school. The other set is our kids who are enrolled in school. So these could be our little bit younger kids, you know, our 5-year-olds that are in kindergarten, or our older kids that are, say, 19 or 20 and still in high school. But they would have to apply by application and be income eligible. So there's kind of like two separate groups of people that we're working, but unfortunately it won't automatically cover our 0 to 5 kids.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephanie. Anybody else have a question? All right, I don't see anything in chat, but I know. Oh, will they receive a new card?
So households who have SNAP or TANF, the benefits will automatically go onto that card. For everyone else who doesn't receive SNAP or TANF, they will get a new EBT card in the mail. It's just going to be the normal standard, like Oregon Trail EBT card. It's not going to be like a special printed card. And as best as we can, we're going to put all the benefits for the kids in the household on the same EBT card. So if you remember back to pandemic EBT, we sent individual cards for each kiddo. This time, as best as we can, we're going to try to combine kids in the same household.
Thanks, Stephanie. And then there was a question, looks like, about the timeline. Again, can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so for right now, I'll just say late June. Why I won't give a more specific date is it is dependent on a contract that we sign with our vendor. It's not yet signed. So every day that kind of like wiggles back and forth changes the date of when we'll be able to issue benefits. But right now we are right on the path for late June. So hopefully we'll have a more secure date, or like a more like set date here soon, and that information will be updated on the website.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. If anybody else has any other questions, go ahead and pop them into chat, and I'm sure Stephanie will try and answer those for you. And oh, Jessica, I see Jessica's hands up.
Yeah, I had a question. So just to kind of recap, so the way that families are being able to have this communicated out to them is on the SEBT web page, right? And then social media, and then those that we partner, so like word of mouth. Otherwise, maybe even some forms saying that people who already receive benefits will get like a form in the mail saying you'll have this too. Is that the only way that we're communicating that the benefits are out there?
So Jessica, let me pull open our like full comms package because it's pretty robust. So I want to make sure I don't miss anything for you. And then I will share it with Misha that she can share out with the group. Does that work? Just because there is a lot more to it, but I want to make sure that I'm giving it right and don't say something that we're not doing or miss something that we are doing.
Sounds good. Thank you, Stephanie. And just so that everybody knows who's on the call, we do have some partners who have joined us in the comms work stream and that work group, and they have been wonderful about providing input and advocacy and helping us look through things and make sure that we are eliminating as many barriers as possible. And so it's been a wonderful partnership. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to James now, and he'll give us some updates on all things OEP.
Hello, yeah, James Barta, he, him. I'm the Engagement Strategies Manager at OEP, and for some reason, my name is still on the agendas for this meeting, although Misha does all the work. So I don't know about that, but in any case, it's good to be with you once again, and talking about our Oregon Eligibility Partnership. We manage the one system, and I have start off with some good news, because when people are calling the one system, our customer service center line, the average wait time is 3 minutes right now. So that's great. We're very happy about that. We're catching up on things. We'll just put a little note in there saying, yeah, it's probably going to get worse down the road because a lot of things are going to be coming online in the next few months. At some point, I'll have a better presentation for that. But we still have a batch of medical renewals and a whole bunch of SNAP renewals that will be coming on in the next few months. So it's good, but be aware that wait times will likely creep up in the future. I'm hoping not a ton, but just be ready. And if you want to see that kind of data for yourself, you can, and if I have some more time, maybe I'll walk through this, but there's a nifty dashboard that you can go to that has this information. So also, I got 3 things I'm running through, and number 2 is I am helping host another one of these one office hours that we occasionally do. So if you're working with people who are applying and trying to get benefits, I see you there, Susan. But I know many of you do this. We will have just sort of an open forum. I'll have a really short presentation, which I haven't finished putting together, like 5-10 minutes, and just open it up for questions with our subject matter experts. And so this is tomorrow from 2 to 3, this office hour. It's sort of an experiment to see the demand for it. I do this partially because I think we have been, as an agency, pretty bad about sharing with our partners how the one system works. So we will be trying to get better next few months, but in the meantime, this is what you get. I'm sorry, but we're one thing too that would be helpful that I'm going to cover tomorrow is what is most needed when it comes to training materials. I've heard so far that, and I got an IM from a coworker saying, yes, we have been bad. Okay, but but one thing I'd love to figure out is if we're going to create materials, what is the biggest priority that we need to create right now? One thing I've heard is just a freaking guide to how to open a one account, you know, in more detail. We do have some stuff on that. I'm sort of putting things together, but I'm sure it could be better. I've been promising videos on how to use the mobile app for, I think, 5 months now. They're almost ready, is what I keep hearing. So they should be ready soon. It's, yeah, it's frustrating for me and much more for the people you work with, I know. So, but I would love your input on that. And then my third thing that I wanted to mention is I help facilitate a community member group to make small improvements in the one system. And one thing that we've noticed is that we're running low on ideas on how to improve the one system. Now, these are small changes that we mostly do, although we're going to be learning how to make some of the bigger changes here coming up. But it's I don't think we're there where the one system is perfectly fine where it's at. And so I suspect people here have ideas on how to improve it. And so my third thing that I'm going to put in the chat is right here, which is a form that anyone can fill out to give a suggestion of how to improve the one system. And I see a question in the chat from Julia. Maybe more clarification on benefits for college students, including graduate students. Yep. Yeah, that is an interesting point. So, you know, maybe we can correspond and talk about that. I know I've talked with some people about this and given, you know, what little information I had, but I'd be happy to investigate further, Julia. So anyway, that's what I've got. I'm sure I could blather more about other things, but be happy to hear any other ideas or suggestions or whatever else you got going, but I should turn it back over to Misha.
Thanks, James. Anybody have anything for James they'd like to say or questions? You have a whole 2 minutes. I don't see anything right now, but I'm sure that that great link you sent out will make its way around to folks and you'll start receiving feedback. I'm sure there's feedback to be given. So thank you so much for that. I said that I would open it up in case anybody had the announcements they'd like to make for updates. So was there somebody who was hoping to make an announcement on behalf of their program or organization that you would like to do that now? We've got a couple minutes. Scrolling through to make sure I don't miss any hands. All right, I don't see anything. So with that said, we get to leave a whole minute early today. Thank you so much for coming to our meeting, and I hope you found it helpful. And we will see you again in a month. Have a good day.